In this video, we're going to load our records from the database into our application. So let's go to our API and let's see what we have. Create, delete, update. We need a get. Looks like we didn't create one of those. So I'll just copy this create and paste. And this will be get note. We're also going to want to do that for the to do. And I put that above the create, so I'll put that also above the create. Let's paste another demarcation. Public function get to do. And this will require a login. So let's start with our database query. This DB get to do. Now we're actually going to want to do a get where statement, so I'll do it this way. This DB where user ID is equal to this session user data user ID. Okay, and this will be our query, and I'll say query result array. I'll call this result, and I'll do a print R of result. Okay, so just make sure you type this out how I did. You can just do result and it'll be objects. In fact, I'll just leave it that way. It doesn't matter to me. And let's go to /API /get to do. Okay. So we only have one record. Let's create a couple more. I'm just holding Control and pressing Insert to duplicate that. Now for fun, I'm going to give this a user ID of say 16. Now this shouldn't show up in my list if I refresh. Good. Now I know I'm only getting my own. However, I'll just create a bunch of them for my user too. So I'll refresh. And to give our application more flexibility, we can optionally pass in an ID. And I'll say if ID does not equal null, we want to get the database stuff where, let's just do, okay, so let me delete this. Okay, the where statement will be a lot bigger. So where to do ID equals ID, and we'll want this user ID, and where user ID equals that. Else we'll just do the default where. Okay. So make sure you look at that and you have it typed out the same way, and don't forget your commas and stuff. And I'll go ahead and refresh this, and let's pass /6 or 5. Do I have an ID of 5? Nope. I'll do 6. So if I pass a parameter, I get 1. If I don't pass any, I get them all. We never know, we might want to use that someday. Next, we are going to go to our JavaScript, so I can close API. Views, public JS junior dashboard. And let's see what we have in dashboard. Load to do. So we're going to do a get. And let me see if I actually set some properties in the header that I forgot about. Nope. Okay, so we'll try it this way. Get API /get to do. We want to get them all. And the callback of the function. And I want these in JSON. And semicolon. So let's see. I need to output these as JSON. Sorry, we forgot that step. I was just print R'ing them. Get to do. So I'll say this output set output JSON encode result. So there really should never be an error with this because there's always going to be some kind of result. And to make sure, let me refresh this page. There, now we have JSON format. And I'll go back to the dashboard. And what we're going to do is actually load a template. And that's how we're going to build this thing out. The first thing to figure out is open our template. Here's our to-do data, and we're going to pass an object into it. However, let's get the ID by going back a couple steps. Oh, there it is. Do we have it in here? List to do is what we called it. That's where we'll put stuff. Okay. So list to do.html. And I'm going to loop through this data, and to see our data once again, let's just refresh the page and look at the network. How about the XHR tab? Refresh. It looks like it's not getting called. So load to do. See if that works. Looks like I'm going to need a self on it. Self. And at the top we'll add var self, or how about var self equals this to load these private members. Self, refresh. Well, that's strange. Wonder what's not kicking off. Load to do. Okay, and oddly we're having a problem right here with the result. I'm going to comment this out for now, and we can get rid of this self. Okay, so it should just be load to do. Okay, so I'll go ahead and refresh. Go to the network, and here's our little guy. And what I want to do is just pass this object in a loop into our template. So for var I equals 0, I is less than o dot length I plus plus, and the template we want to load is template dot it doesn't show up in there, to do. Okay, and we're going to pass o I, and I'll say var output equals an empty string, var output output plus equals template. And for the HTML, we'll do it that way. Let's see how that works. Refresh, and we have all these records here, and this is according to our template. Okay, so we have our ID, our span. Let's go ahead to our template and just this should have to do underscore ID. I'll also add one for the note so we don't forget. Okay, and what we're going to add later is a delete. So I'll say ahref equals nothing and just delete. It's not going to look that good for right now, but I'll refresh. The delete will work soon enough, but that's how we're going to load content into our stuff. Now when we create an item, we don't want to forget this. Look, we have to refresh to actually get it there. We're going to go to our event. Let's actually first copy this template. Let's just copy this chunk here, like so. And event, when they create one, if it's a success, we can delete most of this, but I just wanted two things. Whoops. So var output equals template to do O I think the only thing, I guess we're going to have to pass back some data from our creation so that it'll populate with the ID and all that good stuff. So we'll do that briefly. Looks like we got caught on a rabbit trail, eh? Whoops. And I'm in the wrong file. Oh, I closed it on accident. Where'd it go? Event. And it probably won't be I, in fact. So back in the API, when we create a to-do, if it's successful for the result, we'll say data equals an array, and we'll say content. Heck, we could just select the from the database. I'll say this db get from to do. Oops, let's just do a get where to do ID equals this insert ID. Oops, it has to be this db insert ID. Okay. Let me make a comment here. Get the freshest entry for the DOM, and we'll say query and result equals query result. So data will be result. Heck, we could just take this and pop it in here. Okay. So when we create, let's make sure that works. So I'll say test, we create, and create to do, and here's our data that we want, and it looks like it's an array with an object. So I'll just say in the event, get this back, I'll say O0 because it's only going to be the first item. And let's do append or prepend so that it goes to the top. Not sure how it's going to work. XXX, and it did not go in. Cannot read property to do ID of undefined. Let's see what it passed back. When we create, there's to do ID. I may have missed a calculated. Oh, I forgot data. O.data 0. There we go. Refresh. 1, 2, 3, and there's 1, 2, 3 at the top. Now if I refresh the page, it's at the bottom. So let's just do append. Okay. So this is your final code right here. You can pause the video and type this out. Now would be a good time. And for dashboard, this is the code. And that's it for this video.